What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Harley's Huddle Marketing in Motion for Marketing Mondays. Today we're going to be talking about maximizing impact using organic and paid strategies for your small business. Also, just to let you guys know, there's 2 ebooks coming out on each of these. Starting with organic marketing, to give you a quick overview, if you're not familiar with marketing or organic versus paid, organic is a long-term strategy. It does take longer. It's not necessarily a quick win, but it's great for inbound lead generation. It's great for brand recognition, and it's going to take time. The strategy won't work overnight, but if you continue to use it, continue to optimize it both monthly, quarterly, and then of course annually, it will make a huge difference for your company. So don't write it off because it takes longer. You need an organic strategy for your company to succeed and for you to not have to spend tons of money to get your website to show on the top of Google for people to click on, because people don't really go past page 1 or 2. So you really want to be on that first page if you can. And with that being said, just some examples of how you can use organic marketing in your business strategy, your marketing strategy. A good way to do this is providing educational content similar to this podcast, where I just kind of provide you guys with information on marketing, different digital marketing strategies, things like that. Also, like the things I do on TikTok that are educational posts, like how-tos, things like that. That's a huge part of your strategy. You want to mix it up and not just have educational content, but educational content is a good way to bring people in and show them your why, show them why your company's better, what they do, like a demonstration, and also for thought leadership and establishing your knowledge and your place in the marketplace. So this is really important for that. It's important for educating your audience, giving them tips on creating and engaging with your content, and making sure you use the right platforms for this. It would depend on your audience. It would also depend on, you may use Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok, right? 3 totally different types of platforms. And you may use these and you may use them differently. So it's really important to strategize each piece of this organic content depending on where you're putting it. If it's a blog, then it should be longer form informational. If it's like a quick how-to, then that's probably better for TikTok or Instagram Reels. Facebook can kind of go either way. Reels do well on Facebook, but so does lead generation posts. So maybe a video explaining how your product works, and then at the end it has a call to action that allows people to actually go to your website or sign up for a demo or whatever it is. So that kind of stuff is great for the educational content. And this includes posting success stories and testimonials, proving what you do and your knowledge actually makes a difference for what your consumer's looking for. They're not going to believe that you're skilled in what you do unless you give them some reason to. And success stories and testimonials are a great way to do that. Another point here is just making sure you harness the power of storytelling in marketing and use these testimonials effectively. Make sure you're reaching out to your customers often to get these, because that's both reputation management, right? Posting on Google or Facebook reviews, and also things that you can share or turn it into a graphic with a quote from the person. That's another huge way to do that, because images do well on everywhere, pretty much everywhere. LinkedIn, you could do a carousel. Carousels do well on LinkedIn. They also do well on Instagram. So again, this could be an entirely other podcast, but it's just making sure that you have some sort of educational content and some sort of storytelling content plan for every asset that you're using, from social media to blogs to podcasts to even in-person events. You need a strategy for all of this, and you need to prove why you're educated and why you're more educated or provide a better product using this education than your competitors. Another good way to do this is interactive Q&A sessions. You could do these on TikTok, Facebook Live, Instagram Live. Depending on your audience, for gaming, Twitch is great. Also for musicians, I use that personally for both my DJing and my gaming. So any place where you can go live and be interactive and have Q&As not only proves your educational value and your kind of thought knowledge, but it also allows you to interact and engage live, and then have that recording and make clips, and those clips could be educational content that you then repurpose for social media. So there's so much you can do here, but it's important to have some sort of educational content in your strategy. All right, next up, we want to engage our audience through interaction, and we just touched on Q&A sessions and lives, and these are a huge way to do that, but also not just responding to Q&A lives, also having like people feel comfortable asking in comments or responding in your lives or whatever. That way you can have that content to produce for a video response. If someone's like asking a question about your product, you, instead of just simply answering it, you could create a video, or you could create a more written in-depth post and tag them in it, or you could answer in the comments. But I see a lot of brands just repeating the same response over and over and over again. And although I can understand how that is a process for a bigger company, because you're receiving so many comments each day, it just doesn't make it seem personable, and you're just copy and pasting a format. And so keeping that tailored and different as much as you can is important for interacting with your audience and engaging with them and making them feel like you're actually responding to them. You're not just like responding with the same template that someone's copy and pasting or a bot is responding with. That's important. As is when you do these live Q&A sessions we've been talking about, put some sort of overlay that explains what you're doing. Don't just hit live with like a camera. I mean, you can do that, but it helps to, like, when I go live on TikTok, for example, on my marketing account, shout out to digital dynamics, Harley Raffle Digital Dynamics on TikTok. But anyways, when I go live on that account, I have this little picture that's on top of the screen that says marketing Q&A. It gives a little detail about my experience. It says, ask whatever you want. I'm here to help you. That makes it easier to interact with people, so they're not just coming in and hearing you talk and then like leaving because they have no idea what's going on. So that's something that you could use for your brand when you're going live. You can also do posts like that where it's like Q&A, ask anything, and people can respond on the post in text. Like, both of those make your customers feel engaged and makes your brand feel interactive. User-generated content is another great way to do this. And now there's two sides to user-generated content, or if you hear me referring it to as UGC, that means the same thing. It's just quicker to say. So anyways, UGC, it could be influencers, it could be people you're paying or giving a free product to. TikTok Shop right now is huge for that. I'm on TikTok Shop. You can like literally build your own store with products that are already available, make videos and link to it and get commission off of it. TikTok does a great thing with that, and brands that are taking advantage of that are probably doing pretty well, I would think. And I see, at least on TikTok, how well the creators are doing. A lot of them are making decent money. So that feels like both the brand and the consumers are engaged together and working together. And some of that costs money. Like, sometimes you have to pay these people to promote it. Sometimes you have to give them a free product, but other times they'll just buy the product, like on TikTok Shop, and promote it because they'll get commission either way. And so you're still making money, but also you're still making them feel engaged. And so it's kind of a win-win. But it can be expensive, and it can be hard to find the right influencer. We will probably do an entire podcast on finding the correct influencers and how to go about that. But user-generated content is going to be huge and like continue to be a trend in marketing. I see it being a huge trend in 2024 and continuing on, because it does this. It engages your audience, but it also shows like real everyday people that love your product. And an example we talked about in my first podcast was the Coke the Coke bottle, your name on a Coke bottle. Why? Words. And so that was good because people were just posting the Coke bottles with their names as they found them. That was free user-generated content. Also, Spotify Wrapped and like Steam for gaming, they do a Wrapped. Like, that kind of stuff encourages people to share. And then it encourages people to download your app, because the engagement these other people have with your app or your product, like, clearly they really like it. Then it creates that FOMO. It creates this reason for all these people to download your product or your app or buy your product, whatever it is, because they're like, whoa, all these people I see posting about it. It's all over, So that's a great way to engage your audience as well. Building a community around your brand is key, whether this is like something like Apple that just basically has a cult-like following, where people that have Apple are like, if you don't have an Apple, you're uncool to them, or, like, creating a product that's so user-friendly and so, like, fits just such a specific audience of people is great, but also building this community around your brand and making people feel connected to other people that buy your product, use your app, are in your community if like your sole purpose is a community, like an online community. And you can do this for your brand and get people interacting that way. Like, for example, again, with gaming and Twitch, I game and I stream, and I also DJ and I stream. But what I do is I also have a Discord server that people can join completely for free, interact with other gamers, find people to game with, and also have like people to meet and support and go to their streams. And so this is a way of both like promoting my brand, but also building a community around it and helping other people and supporting other people, making them feel like I'm not just in it to make money, or I'm not just in it for myself. And so that's an example of how you can do that. You could do this in various ways. You could do it on Facebook or LinkedIn, or, it really depends on your brand and your product, but definitely find a way to build community, because that is key for engagement. And finally, behind the scenes content. This definitely is interactive content. It makes consumers feel closer to your brand, which is leading to the next point that I'm going to get to, humanizing your brand. That's also important for your SEO strategy and your organic strategy for your brand or your company. All right, so humanizing your brand is important because behind the scenes content, as we just spoke about, and also engaging with your customers, responding to your customers, responding to reviews, or just engaging in general, as we just discussed, that whole last section was about. This humanizes your brand. It helps resonate with your audience. It helps make you feel reachable, like you're not just some big corporate company that doesn't care about them. And this is important because in this day and age, like, innovative marketing is all about humanizing, engaging, not just selling. And so make sure that you have some sort of plan in your content strategy, whether it be behind the scenes content or an engagement strategy for social media, or using user generated content and providing influencers with your product for them to display. Like, any of that stuff humanizes your brand. It makes it seem like you're more than just some CEO or president of a company trying to get their money. And even though maybe low-key that's what you are, I don't think that's right. I'm all about building actual like connections and audience, but maybe you are, but still you gotta pretend you're not, because people don't want to buy your brand, buy your product, download your app, whatever it is, unless they feel some sort of humanized connection. That's just how it is now. So you have to find a way to build that into your organic strategy. So, to recap on that, there's lots of different ways to use organic marketing: social media, content series, videos, blogs, podcasts, doesn't matter. But what you need to know is that doing so with keyword research and making sure that you are hitting your correct audience will help you bring your brand to that top, that first Google page without having to really pay for it at all. And then in addition to that, it makes sure that you're consistently optimizing content. So make sure that you're getting on, Google Search Console or whatever you use for analytics every month, looking at keywords, looking at what posts of yours on blogs, what posts of yours on social media, stuff like that is performing the best. And then rebuild your strategy with that. Re-optimize for those words that are on like the tier, right? They're like 11 to 20 spot on Google according to your data. Use those words more. Clearly, like, it's making a difference, but it needs just a little bit more to push it up to that page. So that would be writing blogs about it. Long form content helps. Landing pages, working the keywords into your website, and also working it into this organic strategy we just discussed. And that's going to be how you do that, and how you kind of use these different organic strategies and different types of organic marketing to ensure the best placement possible on search engines for your company. All right, so let's get into paid marketing now and paid strategies. It's kind of opposite to what we did talking about the strategies for organic, in that it doesn't take a long time. These tend to be quicker wins because your ads are showing up on that top page. You're paying for that. And also, generally, the difference in intent is like more informational and research based for organic, and more like decision based and like consumer ready to buy for ads. And so let's start with some of the most popular social media platforms, including Facebook and Instagram. So you're going to hear a lot of overlap each time because the strategy is somewhat similar for each, but also slightly different. And so to create effective Facebook and Instagram ads, you want to start with a clear objective. Again, that's going to be the same for each of these, but determine whether you want to kind of create increase in website traffic, generate leads, drive sales, raise brand awareness. Like, what is your goal? That's important to know first. And once you do that, you can define your target audience based on demographics, interests, behaviors, and that way you make sure that your ad is going to pop up on the feed of people that will be more likely to actually purchase it. You want to create very compelling ad visuals and copy, whether this be video or an image, or no matter what. For Instagram and Facebook, how it looks is so important, and the quality of it is important. So make sure you're keeping your copy concise and engaging. You're highlighting the value of your product, and you're making sure that these are quality images or videos that are eye-catching and resonate with your audience, and are also not like too long or too short. It's not like TikTok where short form's better, but it's also not like YouTube where long form's better. You need to kind of mix it up, see what works best, and keep your videos short and concise, but also make sure that you highlight all the value and all the different reasons why, right? Again, back to the start with why. Make sure that you know your why and that you're communicating this clearly to your consumers. Then you want to make sure you're choosing the right ad format. Facebook and Instagram offer different formats, from photo ads to video ads, carousel ads, and more. Carousel ads are performing well right now, but you need to keep up with the trends because everything changes, and sometimes what works right now might not work as well later. So select this, figure out what aligns best with your campaign goals and what resonates best with your audience, and then set a budget and a schedule for these ads and decide how much you're willing to spend for the duration of your campaign. Consider using Facebook's ad manager tool. It's actually a really good tool to help manage your budget effectively, and then utilize their targeting options. You can target based on interests and behaviors and demographics, and even set custom audiences. So if maybe one post reaches a certain audience differently than another, you can set these custom audiences and pick them when you go to post. That's important to keep in mind. And then of course you're going to want to keep monitoring and optimizing these ads regularly. Keep an eye on key metrics like click-through rate, conversion rates, and then return on ad spend, because you want to make sure that you're adjusting these ads for the best performance and for the best ROI, return on investment. Make sure that you're refining your strategy as needed to get the best return on your investment, and also to make sure you're getting better click-through rates and conversion rates and all that every month, and then quarterly and yearly. Again, you should do each and every one of these. You should do monthly reviews, quarterly reviews, and yearly reviews, and also optimize even weekly. That's what I do, is I go and look at it weekly and I make small optimizations, and then monthly I'll do kind of the bigger ones, and quarterly, obviously, this could be a whole new strategy. So, and just make sure you stay creative, you stay updated with the latest trends and practices, and make sure that you know what is working best. Like I said, carousel ads are right now. That doesn't mean they'll continue to be, and you need to know this, or you need to have someone working on your social media team that knows this. It's very important. You have to do the research, the keyword research, to optimize these ads differently than you did for your organic strategy. So keep that in mind. The research is going to be different. The words might be some crossover, but different because the intent's different. So keep that in mind. So when we talk about paid marketing, there's two types. There's paid social ads, and then there's your normal pay-per-click ads, Google, Bing, etc. Usually a combination of both is going to be worked into your plan, and then a combination of that with your organic strategy. It's going to be a mix of everything. So in this section, we're going to talk about crafting effective social media ads. We're also going to talk about crafting effective PPC ads and retargeting ads, and making sure that you're optimizing each of these for the proper audience, and then just like measuring ad performance, optimizing it, and improving on it. That's what this section is going to get into. So first we're going to start with social, then we're going to go to PPC and retargeting. Next up we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn's great when you're having a business to business audience. It's huge for B2B, some B2C, but it would really be more like business related products, even if you're reaching consumers. So make sure you're using LinkedIn for that kind of stuff. And also, just like I said with Facebook and Instagram, make sure you're creating effective sponsored content that has and you have like a clear understanding and a deep knowledge of what your campaign goals are, what your audience is, and create this engaging, precise content, and then continuously monitor and optimize it to maximize impact on this professional networking platform. And again, it's different than the rest because it is a networking platform. It's not just where you go to share, ads or photos. So to create a LinkedIn sponsored content strategy that's effective, start by defining your objectives as we just discussed. Determine what you want to do, whether it's boost brand awareness, drive website traffic, promote job openings even. So this is where it's a little different than the rest because your intent's going to be a bit different. And then know that LinkedIn is a platform of professionals. So ensure that this content speaks to professionals and target job industries, job titles, company sizes. Get that specific. And then craft engaging content using high quality visuals or videos, writing concise but value-driven copy, and then address pain points and provide solutions to these pain points. That's going to be huge for having a successful LinkedIn paid ad strategy. Leverage storytelling and data to make your content more relatable and also more informative. And then once you select the right, content strategy, you need to select the right ad format. LinkedIn offers sponsored posts, sponsored video ads, carousel ads, and more. They also have an option where you can put an ebook that someone can download and things like that, which is great for collecting user information to say add to an email list. And then after this, of course, you want to set your budget and schedule, determine this budget, and then continue to manage it and look at it. LinkedIn does tend to be one of the more expensive platforms to advertise on. Just going to put that out there. And then leverage the unique LinkedIn targeting features to narrow down your audience based on job function, seniority, company size, things like that. And take advantage of matched audiences and retargeting options, which means you can put in your current audience, download from your CRM and then input it into LinkedIn, and it matches people very specific to those people that you're already working with or have already reached out to you. And then, of course, measure and optimize your campaigns. Look at things like click-through rates, engagement rates, conversion rates, and LinkedIn has a really great analytics platform to help you kind of use this to refine your content and targeting strategies. So just keep an eye on this weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. As I said, each time it'll be a little different. Weekly, you'll just make small optimizations. Monthly, you might make some bigger changes. And then quarterly could be redefining the entire strategy, and yearly obviously is to make sure that your knowledge of where your year-over-year return on investment is at using these ads on LinkedIn. And finally, we're going to touch on YouTube ads. This is a very common and effective way to bring an audience right now, especially because YouTube is so huge, especially for informational and educational content now. I know for me, if I'm putting something together, I'm just Googling how to put this together and YouTube pops up. There's a video of someone that's here's how you do it. Kind of similar to what I'm doing with you guys every week. So knowing how to kind of place those YouTube ads and create them in a way that's going to be compelling and target your audience correctly is also going to be huge for your strategy. If you have any sort of educational content or any sort of product demonstration, anything like that would do great on YouTube. So you should also have an organic YouTube strategy, but for paid, it's great at reaching people because of the high volume of people and how you can specifically target the type of person watching the video that you would want your brand or your product to be placed in. Like we've been talking about, make sure you know your audience, understand the demographics, interests, and behavior of your target viewers. YouTube offers a very precise targeting option for demographics, interests, keywords even, which is great, and retargeting. Then you're going to need to create compelling video content and craft a captivating video that grabs users' attention within the first few seconds. This is important because I don't know about y'all, but like a lot of us are out here with like a 2-second attention span. I mean, not saying that that's everyone, but the average attention span in the United States the last time I saw was like something like 7 seconds. So you really need to grab attention quickly or people are going to close out. So this is important. Make sure that you really tell a story and present a problem and a solution that will resonate with your audience. And make sure it's visually appealing and the message is clear. Choose the right ad format. Again, YouTube provides various ad formats. TrueView, which is like in-stream ads. These can be skipped though. TrueView Discovery ads. This is displayed alongside YouTube search results. And then bumper ads, which are short, non-skippable ads within content. You got to select what aligns both with your campaign goals and your budget and your audience preferences. And then you want to optimize your video for mobile as well. Most users are watching YouTube on mobile devices. This is important to know because you want to make sure your video and the landing page for their video are mobile friendly. And you can test this easily, but make sure that you do that. Don't just assume because it looks good on the computer you posted it from, it's going to look good on a phone, because the specs are different, it looks different. You want to make sure you're testing for mobile optimization. And then you set your budget and schedule, as we did for each and every other platform we've discussed. And make sure you use YouTube's advertising platform to control your spending. Choose when and where your ads appear. This is great because you don't just like pay for clicks and like it shows it when they want to show it. You can actually like choose when and where they appear, which is great. And then utilize these targeting options that YouTube offers. Make the most of their targeting capabilities to reach your correct audience. Really make sure you're hitting those demographics, interest, keywords, that kind of stuff, and experiment with different targeting options to refine your strategy. Don't just like do one and stick with it. Testing is important for YouTube and for all the other platforms we've discussed so far. So we've discussed kind of some of the most popular platforms used right now for social ads. There's also Twitter. I refuse to call it X, even though that's what it is now. Sorry, Elon. TikTok, Threads, Snapchat, like there's more, and you need to do your research to see which platforms work best, because these might work best for you. And if that's the case and you need help coming up with a strategy or just knowing the details that I explained for each and every other platform we talked about today, reach out to me and I'll do a video on it or pop on a call with you and explain it. But the ones I discussed are kind of where the trends are right now. There are a lot of ads on TikTok and the ad spend is pretty cheap on TikTok, but I focus more on the larger scale ads that reach like a variety of audiences, just for this particular explanation and example. But again, let me know if you need help with any other platform, because I am happy to run through it with y'all as well and decide which is best for your particular brand, your content, your company, like it's going to be different for everyone. So we got to really study the trends and figure out what's going to work best and hit your target audience most effectively. All right, moving on to the paid and retargeting ads. So this is Google ads. You can also use Bing ads. Those are good for like reaching way more professional audiences, but Google ads tends to be best because everyone uses Google. It's going to be really important to do your keyword research and know what people are looking up within the intent of, ready to purchase kind of thing, not just informational, because those are the people you'll reach with organic. They're not really worth spending the money on. And you can do this with a program like SEMrush, Ahrefs. There's so many programs out there that allow you to do this. And then you can narrow it down to intent, search volume. It's really important to just kind of narrow down all of that before even creating your plan or setting up your ad groups and things like that. And then make sure your landing pages are optimized for these ads, and make sure that they are properly optimized for both mobile and desktop traffic. And then, once you've done your research and you have your strategy, you want to create compelling ad copy You'll want to set it up that like any of your headlines will match with any of your copy, because that's how Google does it. So you need to really get creative there, or hire a copywriter, or use something like ChatGPT and put in your keywords and how you want to use those to reach people on Google. And then, as we've been saying, put in your target audience. You can also upload lists for retargeting and for audience matching, like we discussed for LinkedIn, and continuously monitor and change and update and optimize. And Google ads are a little bit more simple because you don't necessarily have to do a display ad. You can now do display ads and video ads, but it's more important to just work in a keyword strategy and reach those people that are looking up the keywords that match the intent of purchasing. And then that brings us to remarketing, which you can also do remarketing campaigns on Google or Bing, but you want to make sure you set your goals and choose the right platform, whether it be Google Ads or Bing or display ad networks or programmatic. There's so many different ways to do this. And then you're going to create segmented audiences based on their interactions with your website. So create audience lists for users that have visited a specific page or abandoned their shopping carts or spent a significant time on your site but haven't purchased anything. You can segment down to this, which is important to make sure individual ads hit those individual audiences for retargeting and get them to make that final step to purchase your product or download your app or hire you, or whatever your goal is. You want to make sure that you segment the audiences based on that. And then craft compelling ad content, eye-catching and persuasive creatives that resonate with your segmented audiences. Highlight the value propositions, benefits, and incentives for the user, and make sure they want to return and take action. It's got to be something that shows you're on the edge. You're probably comparing us to competitors. Here's why we're better. Here's why we'll engage with you more. Here's why we're more humanized as a brand. All that kind of stuff you need to do with your retargeting campaign. And then you set bid strategies. This goes for both just your regular Google ads and your retargeting ads. And then you can adjust and prioritize based on user behaviors and things like that. Bid more aggressively for high intent audiences, but also be strategic about this, of course. And as we discussed, optimize these landing pages. Make specific ones for remarketed users that are directed to very relevant to their interests and easy to navigate, and it's a seamless user experience that's essential for conversion and for where they're at in your sales funnel. A/B test. You should be doing this for social and paid and retargeting. Just continuously test different types of creatives, different messaging, different landing pages to determine what works best, and then continue to optimize your plan based on that. Be mindful of how often you show your ads to the same user, because actually too much exposure can do the opposite and lead to ad fatigue and negative sentiment and make them feel like you're, invading their privacy. I know I've experienced this. I'm sure a lot of you have too. So be careful with this. And then monitor and analyze both your PPC campaigns and your retargeting campaigns. Often track metrics including click-through rates, conversion rates, return on investment, and then use this data to make informed adjustments. Experiment and evolve. That's huge. That's a huge part of innovation marketing, is just experimenting and evolving. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you're constantly adapting to the changes in audience behaviors as well as the changes in market trends. As always, if you have any feedback for me or suggestions for future episodes, things you'd like to see featured in the podcast, please drop it in the comments. Thank you guys for listening and being here and hearing me rant on these two different practices that are key for your marketing strategy. Feel free to check out my website. That's where you're going to be able to download ebooks, sign up for my services, or just contact me. Also, just learn more about me and my company and what we do at Harley Digital Dynamics. Keep a lookout for next Monday. Again, every Monday is Marketing Monday, and we release the Harley's Huddle Marketing and Motion podcast, featuring different topics, all involved in innovative marketing and innovative marketing strategies for small businesses. If anyone wants to be featured on a podcast, if you're a small business owner and you want to be featured on a podcast and do a Q&A with me live, please reach out to me. I'm looking forward to doing that. Or if you're a marketing professional and you want to discuss topics with me that you're informed on, let me know. I want to feature more interviews and more content that's not just me speaking to you guys. So again, make sure you drop that follow, that subscribe, hit me up on social media, hit my website up. I'm here to help, and thanks for being here. See you guys next week on Harley's Huddle Marketing in Motion.